Welcome to Our Drummers Musicians, your backstage pass to Melbourne's vibrant music scene. Recorded on a cosy couch in Brunswick, join us as we explore what it truly means to be a musician and speak to the diverse talents that make music in our city. Today we're sitting down with Holly Thomas. After relocating from Adelaide in 2017, Holly has quickly become a sought-after freelance drummer in Melbourne, known for her collaborations with a diverse range of artists and bands, including Husky, Quivers, Henry Wagons, and Freya Josephine Hollick. Holly has earned both bachelor and master's degrees in music performance from the Elder Conservatorium of Music in Adelaide and has received various awards. She has a rich background of musical experiences, including performances with Adelaide locals like Takei Maesda, Leo Sayer, Courtney Act, and Peter Coombe. Her talent extends to cabaret shows, having performed with Eddie Perfect, Hugh Sheridan, and Bob Down. Additionally, she has showcased her skills in music theatre, drumming for Ghost the Musical and Dusty the Musical. Holly has toured nationally and internationally, performing at major festivals across Australia. Her extensive recording credits have earned her radio play worldwide as well. Join us as we discuss Holly's journey with music, what she appreciates about the Melbourne music scene, and her passion for supporting young women and gender non-conforming teenagers in music, including through her recent involvement in the ABC TV show Turn Up the Volume. We want to take a moment to acknowledge the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians of the land in which this podcast was recorded. Sorry about Scout, just...
Hey, Scout.
It's okay. Oh. Do you want to come here? Maybe I'll just pick her up. Hey, what's wrong? Yeah. Alright, come with me.
What a little cutie.
You can sit on my lap, alright? Hey Holly, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thanks for having me.
What is the most recent album that you've listened to?
Oh, that's a good question. What's it called? It's going to take me a minute to access it in my brain.
Yeah, no worries.
But, what's it called? I think it's called Bite Me. Wait, can I look it up?
Yeah. Are you a Spotify album listener or like a physical medium
It's a good question. Yeah, physical medium. I have Tidal.
Oh, yes.
And I have a little record club, actually.
Oh, cool.
And so I like vinyl.
Yes.
Wait, I'm just going to find this. It's called Bite Me.
This is cool. I like it when a guest actually looks up what they're listening to rather than just telling me like a cool album that says like, oh, check me out. I've got like cool music tastes.
This is like me with song names, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I feel like I really offend people sometimes because I'm like, I don't know what this song is, but...
It's hard to keep all that information like in the brain. I feel like I remember it about like really specific things, but generally, especially like the short-term memory, like, I don't know, I'd have to look it up like you or just look over there to see what record's on my record player.
I can't find it. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It will come to me probably when I get in the car at the end of the episode.
You can text me and I'll put it in the podcast liner notes.
It's an artist that's on Merge Records, and I feel bad that I can't remember her name right at the moment. Oh, Rosalie. Yes, it came.
Cool.
Rosalie, Bite Me.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What's the vibe?
What's the vibe of the thing? I guess it's like indie, windy something. I don't really know.
Okay.
I find it really hard to classify what things are these days, but like sort of singer-songwritery, but like the band feel like a real big part of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a really beautiful album.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to like try and describe the music that you're currently playing on. And it's hard to describe because it's like kind of indie rock, folk, and like everything sort of all mixed into like this one bag. But I really like quite a lot of your music. So like especially Husky, I've been a big fan of for a while.
Oh, awesome.
So it's exciting getting to chat to you, especially because, the recent Husky album's just come out.
Yeah.
And so I've already been listening to it and
Oh, nice.
love all of your beats. Like,
Oh, thanks.
it's awesome.
It's all very simple.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, do you feel like it's simple or, is that just what you're saying? But really, because I don't know, I think it's pretty complex to play like a great feeling drum groove, even if it's like notated simply.
Yeah. I guess it feels, I think the way we recorded this one and how we fleshed it out was like Husky had written the songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got together and just played through them, and we were playing them just in like a small room. I had a small kit, and it just felt like playing along, I didn't feel like I was, pushing the bounds of ideas and things.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess a lot of the time I sort of describe myself as a bit of a meat and potatoes kind of drummer. So, I guess it does feel like it's like, maybe simple is not the right word, but it's fairly delicate sort of stuff. It's nothing too crazy and out there, I don't think.
Is that something that you, I don't know, are like quite deliberate about, at least like with Husky, or is that something where they or the production say, actually, we want like a really small, delicate sound for this record, or how much creative control do you have over what you're playing and what the sounds are?
Well, in this last album, it was produced in-house, so Gideon and like I guess the band, but I just I guess I sort of played it how I thought. It was pretty collaborative.
Collaborative?
Oh no. Yeah.
It was a group effort.
A group effort. So I guess I just approached it with how I would play it. The previous album, which I'd say like the drumming on that I think's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think go meet, but I think it was it was like working with Matt Redlick as the actual like producer outside of the band.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time I worked with him, and it was all to tape.
Wow.
And it was like we'd play the song, and if it was good, we'd keep it. If it wasn't good, we'd rewind and do it again. And some of the beats were things that we came up with together, and some of them, like, they put a lot of it like together as like a pre-production sort of demo using sort of snippets from jams. And so I think like I'd sort of figured out some of the beats, but they'd also kind of like arranged stuff. So I knew like I had really specific parts. So I guess they're quite different. Yeah. And maybe, I don't even know. It's funny how differently you can record things.
Yeah.
But I feel maybe more proud of that one because it felt like a real, like, just tracking it all to tape. And the parts are really interesting. And, maybe it's a bit more drummery for the drummers that are into the drummery stuff.
Yes. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, where do you feel the most at home then with your playing? Would it be doing that stuff? Or, I don't know, is there like a different thing other than just like, the current bands you're working with that's more, I don't know, your like home place behind the drums?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I do like playing with so many different things because I like experiencing all the different flavors. I guess something that I don't play anymore that I kind of miss is like lots of like soul and groove based stuff, but it's in my heart still. But I don't really, it's just not the scene that I'm in. But I think I just like being expressive and playing musically. And that's sort of where my heart's at, different colours and, being really delicate and then being really, extra.
So what was it like when you came to Melbourne? Like, you sort of said like, oh, I'm in the scene. Is that something that you tried to get into, or it's more that you've just fallen into, oh, I'm playing with this artist, now the next person's heard that, and they're all in similar sonic spheres?
Yeah, it kind of just sort of all flopped in a way, and it's just, I've just followed my nose. I haven't had any real vision. I was like, I just knew that I wanted to play in bands and I wanted to create and play original music. And so I just sort of followed my nose with that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, what was it like when you first got started on the drums? Like, was it your first instrument and like done as a kid, or something that you came to, as like a teenager?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started singing, and then I did want to play the drums like vaguely, but Mum got me a recorder. I had recorder lessons like everyone in the 90s.
Yes.
And I got to have a play of the drum kit in year 7 music class, and just for one song, and I just thought, this is the coolest. And that was The Seed.
Cool.
It wasn't for a couple of years later after I hassled my parents. But my classmate down the road, Jenna, she lived down the road. She had a drum kit and she was getting lessons. And so I started doing like just music class at school. And I borrowed her music folder, like her drum folder. And she was like, you can come around and practice on my kit if you want. I was like, cool. So I grabbed her folder. I just taught everything to myself in that folder. And then I think my mum was like, maybe she wants some lessons. So
wow.
I had group lessons in year 8, at the end of year 8, with 2 other drummers. One of them was a left-hander. So we had a half an hour drum lesson.
Oh, and you had to swap the kit around?
We had to swap the kit. It was an electric kit, but still.
Okay.
It's like 10 minutes each. And yeah, I just loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. What was it like teaching yourself, I guess, is like the starting point, rather than having someone else like show you what all of the stuff
I don't know how I figured it out. Yeah. Maybe it might have been just she sort of showed me like a few things, and I feel like I don't know if you'd feel the same, but like reading basic drum notation makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It gets stupid after that. Like but like at least like just learning, eighth note rock groups it makes sense.
Yeah. Do you remember what the first book or like stuff was that you did? Like, was it Frank Corniola's rhythm section?
It would have been, like a bunch of those songs. Yeah. And my teacher, he was a great teacher too. He had a bunch of his own stuff as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Once I started learning.
Yeah. So what was it like as a high schooler in Adelaide? Because I don't know much about what the scene is like over there, other than, well, it's not even Adelaide, but like when I played in the stage bands in high school, we'd come to Generations in Jazz.
Yep.
Which is at least in South Australia just. And play. Yeah. So it was like, well, clearly there's like, and other people from Adelaide came across and studied at uni with me and things.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, what was the music scene like as like a young aspiring drummer? Was there like much gigs to go and see, or big programs at schools and stuff?
I feel like I grew up in the southern suburbs in a really like sheltered musical place.
Okay.
So, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain I'm the first person that went and studied music.
Wow.
But I had a great like high school music teacher who just like was really inspiring and nurtured my like, aspirations, I guess. But we weren't jazzy at all, and I didn't know any jazz to audition for a music course about jazz. And I really, when I went to uni, I was like, whoa, these people have been playing jazz and big band stuff for years, and I'm like, I can play Complex City.
Yeah. Awesome.
So yeah, like, and I just didn't really have friends and things that were into music that would go to gigs, or it really took going to uni to be sort of immersed in a like at least that version of a scene.
Okay.
which is probably pretty different to how it is for Melbourne people, I suspect. But
I'm sure there's probably pockets that are more like that where there's not much happening, especially like the further out in the suburbs that you go. But yeah, I feel like I was super lucky to be involved in so many different like big programs through my high school, and then like a family that took me to see lots of gigs and stuff when I was growing up.
Yeah, that helps, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What was it like your listening experience like then, I guess, before you went to uni?
Yeah, my mum and dad had like a record collection. My mum's was like more kind of Motowny sort of stuff.
Cool.
And dad's was more like Led Zepp, rock, sort of vibes.
Mm-hmm.
He'd always be like, "You love my music." No, I don't,
Yeah.
And yeah, I really liked all of the music. And then also my brother loved like grunge music.
Okay.
And he used to go to gigs all the time. And I would say, yeah, he was fairly responsible for encouraging my music taste. But I loved like the first CD I bought was The Living End.
Oh, yeah.
But then to counter that, the first cassette I had was Harry Connick Jr. She.
Oh.
So, I think watching Hey Hey It's Saturday was a bit of a, musical upbringing as a young person.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just friends and, listening to whatever, like watching Rage on Saturday mornings and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So what was the like, I don't know, calling or whatever that made you go from, just playing, but to actually go, no, actually, I really want to study this. And because you didn't even just do a bachelor's, you also did a master's.
Sucker for punishment.
Clearly.
I was just so one-eyed. I was just like, I want to do music, but I didn't know where I wanted it to take me.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to like keep playing. And I just, kept doing it. And then, with the masters, I guess, that just happened. I got a scholarship, so I was getting paid to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of made me finish it.
Okay.
I can't say I loved that whole experience. It's not my finest work, but it's actually a Masters of Philosophy in Music Performance, so it's like a research. Like I did 2 recitals. I sort of explored applying the linear concept to contemporary jazz.
Mm-hmm. Did you become like a jazz nerd whilst you were at the conservatorium?
That's what my drum teacher told me to become, and a bit, yeah. Like I think I'm jazz scarred, but but like I do love and appreciate it, and I do enjoy playing it. But it's not where my heart's at, I guess, and I've sort of come to terms with that. Mm-hmm. I think, maybe a little bit, jazz scarred. Is everyone jazz scarred after going to music school?
There's a new jam that's just started in Brunswick. I think it's at the Retreat Hotel, and it's called Jazz School Hurt Me. and I think you should go down.
Yeah,
and
it's relatable.
Yeah, very much for, I think, probably most. Like, it's a great place, and I'm glad that I went as well. But at the same time, the music isn't what I most resonate with.
Yeah.
And I like listening to it now, and I think it definitely is expanded the, I don't know, practical and technical capabilities that I had and all the theory and meeting great people. But also, I guess similar to you, I wasn't listening to like strictly jazz before going, and afterwards I've been booked for like 2 jazz gigs, and everything else is, contemporary music or soul bands and other stuff that like gets me excited. I guess. Yeah.
I've done I always get roped into a couple of jazz gigs a year, and I'm like, why did I, the people are lovely and like the music's great, but I'm so out of my depth these days with that. It's its own art form, and I don't do it justice because I don't play it all the time.
What was it like doing like the musicals and stuff that you did? And I don't know, like what was it like playing with Peter Coombe? Because like I feel like at least everybody my age and older knows who Peter Coombe is.
Yeah.
But not from like a real musical sort of highbrow, listening experience.
It's pretty, I mean, the drumming in it's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good fun gig. Yeah,
Yep.
I do like it. I don't do it very often now, but when I was in Adelaide, I was sort of playing that Adelaide gigs a bit and done a few other ones around the traps. But he's really he's great. I mean, he just kills it.
Mm.
Yeah, he'll probably still be going when he's like 90.
He seems like an extremely high energy character.
Yeah, he's got energy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I hope I'm like that when I'm old. And, not to say you're old, Peter, but like I feel old. I'm like, that's something to aspire to.
It must be cool. Like, I don't know, you've done so many different things and like got to meet lots of different characters like that across the span of your musical career. Are there any other like real standouts for you that were like formative as you came out of like the uni experience? But I guess still in Adelaide. Oh, Scout.
I think like Adelaide, like I spent a lot of time playing like lots of wedding gigs and covers and like lots of jazzy kind of things. So I think I did the hard yards of like the slog.
Yes.
Learning to play to every possible size room that exists and just learning songs and that sort of stuff. I'm trying to think. I have a terrible memory, but I guess you asked about the musical side of things and doing that actually made me realise that no, I don't really want to do that.
Yes.
I don't have the type of brain for sitting and doing the exact same book every night, 8 shows a week, and being in the pit. Like, I want to be on the stage. Even though I'm shy, sort of, like
Okay.
I've kind of got Leo energy, I want to be on stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really froth just nailing a book every night. I think that's not a thing I really truly love doing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's very fair. I feel like it does definitely take a certain type of, at least mentality to like actually get excited by doing that.
Yeah. Yep. Some people love it. I do not. Maybe like I've figured out the sweet spots. Like 3 weeks, I'm happy to do for something, but then otherwise it's like, nah, it's too monotonous.
So did you get some opportunities to like start playing in Melbourne before you moved here that made you go, yeah, Melbourne's where I want to base myself going forward?
It's a good question. There's a lot to it. But it's sort of actually after doing Ghost, I realised, no, I don't want to do that. And I don't know if you know Darren Hanlon.
No.
He's like an awesome singer-songwriter. And I randomly met him at a wedding in Broken Hill.
Oh.
Yeah, of all the places. And he was like, oh, you should come and do some gigs for me. And we played at Woodford randomly.
Wow.
And then, after this musical that I did, which was like years later after meeting him, he was like, oh, do you want to come and do like an Outback tour for a month? And I was like, maybe, I was really like, I don't even know if I can be a musician anymore. Like maybe I need to study physio or something. Like I was a bit dark on music and it's like, maybe this will be my last tour. What's there to lose? And I went on this Outback tour with Darren. He's the very opposite. He's like, oh, you don't know this song. Let's play. Go. And it would be just me and him.
Okay.
We went through from Melbourne up to Alice Springs, up to Catherine, like over 30 days.
Wow.
Through the full Outback.
Just as a duo show?
Just as a duo show.
Okay.
But it was a bus load of people. There was like a support act and some random like people that Darren always brings a few random friends and things along.
Yeah.
On that tour I realised, no, I don't want to be in Adelaide anymore. And the people on the tour bus were all kind of just like, you should move to Melbourne. I was like, yeah, maybe I should. Like, maybe that's where it's at.
Hang on, sorry, let me just grab Scout again.
Oh, it's Scout.
All right, sorry about all the chicken noises to you and the listeners.
Oh gosh, where was I?
Okay, so everyone on the tour bus is saying you should move to Melbourne.
Yeah, and I guess there was a bit of like personal stuff as well, but I was like, yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, and I'm going to play music that I like and with people that I like, and play like no more covers, gigs, and just playing bands and get creative. That's pretty much what I did, and chuck the rucksack on and come over and start fresh.
Wow.
And
So was it like a clean slate start rather than, I don't know, having some connections here to get going?
Pretty well. I think I had met a few people that sort of helped as well. Darren's all friends with Courtney Barnett and Jen Clower and that kind of crew, and I met I just didn't know who any of these people were. but Jo Syme from Big Scary, she actually I think referred me to Sam in Quivers for Quivers stuff, and I started playing with Fraser A. Gorman. That was sort of the first gig that I had with an artist here.
Okay.
That was through a referral there somewhere.
Wow.
So I guess I started playing with Fraser, not Freya. And then, I think from Fraser came Husky, as his management were at one of the gigs, and maybe I think they suggested me or something.
Oh, cool.
It all, just trickled from there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a testament to, how great your drumming is, and
thanks.
being a good hang too, to just have these the snowball effect, I guess, of one gig, and then one person says something, and then the next person says, oh yeah, I like that, and someone else sees you play and goes, oh yeah, I like Holly's feel, or I like this, and it's just sort of grown from there to not having to worry about I want to play some music that I don't like because I need money. But yeah,
it's pretty nice to have had that opportunity and just let it kind of, I'm not a schmoozer or anything, so that kind of doesn't work for me. Some people are amazing at doing that, full credit to them.
Yes.
but it, that sort of hurts my soul as well. I think it's just everything had to kind of come back to my values, I guess, and try to live by them, and that includes music.
Yeah. So I guess why have you stayed in Melbourne and not, I don't know, moved on to, another big town or overseas or something else like that?
Because Melbourne's the best. I just don't have, I'm not that adventurous. I like sort of creating a home sort of situation and then traveling around with people from there. And Melbourne feels really good. I did move to the country for a little while. I did the classic Castlemaine thing. But yeah, there's lots of musos up there. But that was sort of just before COVID and whatnot. But
okay.
I think Melbourne's awesome. Hey, we've got, I reckon, I'm going to say it, the world's best music scene.
That'll be the quote for this podcast app.
I mean, I haven't been anywhere else to say, but it feels like it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
We're pretty spoiled. How many different things are going on? I feel like I imagine that we're all kind of struggling muso still, but it's rich and it's musical. Our musical output is pretty excellent. Yeah. The struggling muso thing, I think, is so real. I remember when I was at Monash, we had a partnership with NYU, so a bunch of us went over to do a few weeks, and I saw Ari Honig playing at Smalls for
$15 at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Whoa.
And it was like, oh, wow. Like,
That's
that's
amazing.
like, at the time, my favorite and one of the world's best jazz drummers.
yeah.
And he's playing at 2 o'clock in the morning to an audience of like 10 people. And we paid $15 for
That's
tickets.
crazy.
It's like, well, that same thing's happening in Melbourne.
Yeah,
so like,
yeah.
who am I to like
yeah,
play
yeah,
drums?
yeah.
If this guy's like
Right.
struggling in New York, that's like, you know, meant to be the pinnacle.
Yeah,
And,
totally.
Yeah, it's just happening everywhere around the world.
It is. I guess it's part of it, isn't it?
I think so.
We don't like to admit it, but maybe it just is.
It's true. I think it does need to come out a bit, just to like, you know, from the exciting mask of, you know, everything's going really well, but it's hard.
It is,
to
yeah.
make a living doing it, and just making art is hard, and carrying drums is difficult.
Well, I've just become such a princess with carrying drums that I pretty much don't say yes to gigs without backline. I mean, we're lucky in Melbourne, there's lots of venues that have it, so...
Yep,
But I'm lazy.
that's great.
Even rehearsals, I'm like, can we rehearse where there's some backline?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's, you know, trash cans. You can make anything sound good. Just bring your snare and cymbals.
Yeah, that's true.
Mostly, sort of.
Pretty much. If you got good cymbals,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a cardboard box down
That's
there, and
it.
it's sort of fine.
It's fun to work with.
So what are you most excited about, like, playing for the rest of this year and going forward? Like, I don't know, are you sort of like establishing yourself in the current bands, or are you looking to, I don't know, I'm feeling, my questions often get quite prescriptive. Just what are you feeling excited about?
What am I excited about? Well, good question. Quivers, so Quivers is the only band I'm like actually in.
Okay.
So it's my primary partner. And then I would say I'm non-monogamous with the other groups. I get asked that question a lot about how many bands are you in? I'm like, oh, well, you know, like, yeah, I'm in Quivers. We, you know, that's like a band, and it's a partnership, and then other bands like, I'm just the session musician.
Yep.
Well, we've got Husky album launch shows coming up in the next couple of weeks, which I'm excited about. And then like Quivers, well, we have an album coming out in August, and I think I mentioned before we started the podcast that I'm a bit like, my brain, because I do a lot of the organisation and stuff. And
okay, yeah.
we have a single coming out on Wednesday, and we've just sort of booked 2 US tours, a big Australian tour and a UK tour. So
Wow.
I'm excited about that, and we can sort of, we've what's the word, combined with a awesome US label. I don't know if that's the word, but and so that's exciting. Yeah, we're just so DIY. I've been doing all the artwork for posters and merch and things, so you know, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for that, and I've been a little bit more inclined to say no to some other gigs this year because I feel like it's going to be a big second half. And I mean, I still say yes to a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess that's something that I'm excited about because that feels like from the ground up I'm just so involved in it, and it's a bit more a baby I share with 3 others rather than sort of just coming in and, you know, getting the job done.
Yes. Yeah, it is quite different when you're just being paid to play drums rather than actually being like a permanent member, I suppose, and like with creative control.
Totally.
Do you like the organization and doing the artwork and like all those other things that come into the actually being part of a band?
I actually do. The only thing is I have a survival job as a teacher, a drum teacher, which I feel bad saying survival job, but it is a survival job, but I do love it. And I'm grateful to have it, and I have wonderful students. But if I had the perfect world, I wouldn't have that, and I could actually spend the time doing the other things. But I can't, because that's just how it is. So I feel like I'm working, 2 full-time jobs at the moment. But that's okay. Just strap in for the ride. And, thankfully my ADHD helps me get all the things done. So I love doing the artwork. That's really fun. It's a facet of something that's a part of me that I get to express. So
yeah, cool.
My bandmates let me do it. And, it's another way of saving money.
Yes. I guess it's one of the things, like, someone looking on might be like, wow, that's awesome. Like, you're going to do this world tour with Quivers. And so it could very easily look like this very slick and, oh, it's cool. Holly just gets to go and play drums around the world. But it's actually, you're like literally booking it all and doing all of the paperwork and doing all the artwork. And
it's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we manage ourselves, and we do have a booker in the States now and
cool.
and the UK,
yes.
EU. So that's like taking the pressure off of that. But we
nice.
do our own booking here. Doing grants and things like, yeah, it looks like from the outside, cool. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's freaking awesome. But also we're like hoping that we don't lose money.
Yeah.
Are we stupid? Is this a terrible time to do this? But you kind of just got to do it, don't you? At worst, we lose some money and we gain an experience in our life.
Yeah, fair. What's it like doing, like, the radio shows over there in America where, there's quite a few of them that people would know just from, like, having their YouTube shows, and I've seen you play with Quivers and stuff. Like, what's that scene like? Because we don't really have the same sort of thing here in Australia. Other than, I guess, like Triple J, but even then it's only like one song and one cover, whereas this is like, oh no, you come in as a band and you play your music, and it's like going out to an audience that's so much bigger than anything
it's crazy
here.
When we did KEXP the first time, I'd actually just never even heard of KEXP, so I had no idea. So it's probably good.
Yeah.
So I feel like we might be doing it again this time. I'm not sure, but it's a bit nerve-wracking. I feel like that medium of performing is, to me, the hardest, because it's like you're recording and you're performing. Like, to me, I like either recording or performing, but the mixture of the two I find like to be the most stressful. I'm like, I really love music, but this is a little bit like, I have to wonder if other people feel as like stressed about that. I try to not care, like, whatever, like, especially with Quivers, we're so, we're a bit loose around the edges and we just try to have a fun time.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that kind of medium is definitely the hardest to execute for me anyway.
But do you have like a bit of a process that you do to, I don't know, get like into the headspace for that, and or when you're doing like the live gigs or studio work, is there a kind of a, I don't know, routine or anything that you have to help? It's
probably would be a good thing to have. No, not really. I think I'd love to have something more. I think for gigs it's challenging because I do so many different types. Like, I've noticed as I've gotten a bit older that if I'm playing a gig and there's no green room or somewhere to just escape, like that I find a little bit frustrating.
Sure.
Just otherwise you end up talking to everyone, like, and I love a chat, but I think I do need a little bit of a, like, just a moment to just chill, or just just there's limited supply of energy and I want to keep it all for the gig, especially on tour, if you haven't slept much or whatever. But yeah, recording I don't really, I just try not to I think it's like finding that beautiful balance of like concentrating enough to get it right, and then also just leaving it open to just what's happening in the room, and like just that balancing act, I guess, of being free.
Sure.
And nailing it. That's a tricky one.
It's an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah.
But clearly, you're great at it. That's why, you keep making great music.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we've been playing this game on the podcast where I get each guest to ask a question of the next guest.
Ooh.
And I've got two because I've realized that Danny Ferrugia came on the podcast and he asked two questions, one for a drummer and one for a non-drummer.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about the question for a drummer. So I've got a question from Danny for you.
Yeah.
And then I've got like a really heavy question from the last podcast guest, Kim Beals, who's like a singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
Would you like the heavy question or Danny's question first?
Whatever you reckon, yeah.
Let's do Danny's.
All right.
So this is from Daniel Ferrugia,
yeah.
Awesome drummer for, the people that are listening.
Do you think the 26 standard rudiments are compatible with like playing drum set in modern music?
That's not the heavy question.
Yeah, just wait for the next one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I think about this a bit when I teach. I'm like, I really want to teach my students what they would use and what they would need, and not just teach them because that's what has been done in the past or whatever. I find I'm, still figuring all that out,
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, for my own growth as a drummer, like getting my snare drum chops down and my technique was a massive part of my facility that I have and the nuance that I'm able to play with.
Mm-hmm.
So, practice your pad of fla-flas. No, I don't know. I don't know if I have an actual answer to that question, but I think it's more pondering.
If you, like in your music that you do play, are you ever like, oh yeah, now I'm going to play an inverted paradiddle as my backbeat brushes pattern in the folk band?
No. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah. Just making music. It's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because it's different, I guess, to like someone who's like a real choppy person. That
Yeah,
might,
exactly.
Like, practice deliberately that stuff to
Totally.
then add it to the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the meat and potato style
Yep.
is not really, the chops don't really come in.
It's I think it's just, I don't know. I can get fancy and I can do fast things if I have to, but I don't hear music like that. I don't hear music like the clinical drummer way.
Yes.
That I've just not really clicked with it. Like I did like Dave Weckl and that sort of stuff a bit, and I'm impressed by it and I find it cool. I love the gospel chop stuff, but I don't hear music that I play. I don't think it fits. So therefore I'm like, and I don't want to be a fusion drummer. So
Yes. So no, like 15-minute break in the Quivers tour for just drums?
No drum solos. No, I don't want to do a drum solo. I'm like, I don't want to do a drum solo. I don't want it to be all about me, but can you please not all just stand in front of me? That's that's my...
So centered drums in the stage then is the, I don't know, if you're submitting the stage design.
Yeah, I like it on the side.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. In Husky, we do it on the side. I'm still working on the Quivers gang because often they'll be like 1, 2, 3 at the front. I'll be at the back.
Yes.
And I'm like, I love you guys. And they turn around. It's mostly because I like to feel a part of it. And I think when I'm just seeing the backs of people, it doesn't feel like that.
Yep.
They turn around a lot and include me really nicely. But I think we're still figuring out what works best for everyone with that.
I love the side position for drums.
Me too. Should just be the norm.
Yeah. What angle do you like the kit to be on?
Oh, that's a good one.
From like audience to band. If that
Yeah.
makes sense for someone listening.
Yeah. I think I tend to be more able to look to my left, like over the hats.
Yep.
Like I don't look so much over my right side. So I think from a like band sitting point of view, I like being on the right side on stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I actually prefer looking at it when the drums are stage left for the audience, because you can sort of see more in. But yeah, it's something I don't get to experiment with a hell of a lot, because, you know, most places the drums are like, yep, they're right there.
Yeah.
Don't you dare move them.
The permanent riser.
Yeah. Oh, I really liked doing in the round sort of thing. Where we're all in the middle of the venue and looking at each other. That's basically, I just want to see my bandmates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The struggles of the drummer.
Yeah,
at the back.
exactly.
Yeah. I find it like most confronting when you do rehearsals where everybody's facing in.
Yeah.
And then you go to the gig and they're all in a line and you're at the back.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's like, oh, you like at least on one level appreciate looking at me whilst playing.
Yeah.
But then we're at a gig and it's just I'm just left alone at the
We're
back.
dead to them.
Yeah. Just a little check-in for a bit of fun in the guitar solo or something.
That's it. Although it's like, I feel like it's taken me a while to look at my bandmates. Like, I always used to feel really awkward about it. It can be dangerous, you know. They can make you cry. Like, I've bawled my eyes out on stage looking at my bandmates. But yeah, no, I really, I like being able to just, I think it's just feeling totally like together.
Yeah.
I also don't really like being a drummer that wears in-ears and plays to a click. Like, I've done it plenty, and like I like the execution of it and like feeling like you're nailing it, but I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm playing the music as much. And that's something, like, I'll do it, but I much prefer not being on ears and just like, just like, it feels like I'm not able to be as present because I'm like concentrating on doing the job of nailing it. Whereas when I'm not doing that, I'm sure there's people out there that are really good at doing both, but it feels like I feel like it's a sacrifice for me. It's like an emotional sacrifice or something.
Well, it can be quite different, especially like the in-ears. It's like, and to a click and with tracks.
It's so stressful. I mean, there's people that are so good at getting the Ableton going, and that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, we had JT McRae on the show.
Oh, cool.
And he was talking about how he's just started running tracks for Tones and I.
Yeah.
Side of stage without playing.
Oh my God.
But when he's with like Greta Ray, he's running tracks on stage whilst playing the drums.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much going on, so many different things.
Oh, see, yeah. How do you, I mean, you would be nailing it. Like your job is to nail it.
Yeah.
And that's fun to do. But I think I prefer just doing musical jobs that are less, like more flowy and like breathe and it's totally just a preference of what I like, and you know, whatever, like everything's changing, technology's changing, you know, you got to keep up with the times. But I think it's just totally a preference thing.
I guess that's why like there's so much flourishing of different music, because you have that scene of tracks, and you have the scene of music without that, and mixes and all sorts of different styles. Like
totally.
I think that's one of the things that makes Melbourne so special. It's not just like a city with one sound.
Absolutely.
It's like we've got band venues of all of the different genres, and people go to see all of the different ones. And I don't know. I think it's great that you know what you like, because you've got the chops to do different stuff, but then you also have the ability to like select and choose and find, this is actually what I really like, and I'm gonna, you know, prioritize that rather than just I don't know, saying yes to everything and you know, finding yourself in a scene that doesn't resonate with you.
I like having a crack and, you know, really getting into it. And then like like a lot when we play live with Husky now, we play so quietly, And I love that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
apart from, like, I feel like when you finish a gig and you're like, I should be all sweaty, and that feeling of being like, haven't even broken a sweat.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing just so delicately.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. I like it all.
It's great. I was trying to embody you the other day because I was recording with this artist and they'd sent me all of these, like Jeff Buckley's Grace album and some Radiohead tracks. And so I came into the session thinking it was this like big rocky sort of thing. And then they started playing me the music and it was this like really soft folk thing. And I was like, oh, and then the drum parts just got like smaller and smaller and to the point where it was just this like really soft and intimate thing. And I was like, oh, I was thinking of, I can't remember which track name it is off one of the Husky albums that you'd played on.
I probably won't even be able to help you out with the name.
It's fine. But I was literally thinking.
Is it Wristwatch maybe?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe.
But I knew that we had our podcast coming up, and so
Yes.
you were already like on my mind. And then I was just trying to get into it. I was just like, yes, just got to feel that, just get that sound happening.
No, I'm honoured.
Well, I've got a question for you then from
Yeah.
our previous guest, Kim
Oh,
Bills.
here we're getting heavy here.
Do you experience an inner restlessness and longing that never goes away?
Wait, what was the question again? An inner...
Do you experience an inner restlessness and longing that never goes away?
The restlessness, yes. Yeah. I can't tell if that's just like a product of my mind or just like the capo dog life that we live. Where it's like, you got to be productive and like, I guess that's, I feel restless in the sense that I need to do things all the time. And find it hard to not. The other part of the question, longing, what would I be longing for? I don't know. I'm not sure about that part of it. With that, I don't know. Longing. No, I'd need to think on it for a while.
Well, I did say it was going to be a deep one.
Yeah.
Like Danny's question was also big, but this was like another level of, and it's weird. This like the questions haven't gone in any way the direction that I've thought. I was like, oh, people will just ask something, of the next person that they would have liked to have been asked or something similar. And then it's been this competition of who can ask like the biggest philosophical question to the point where someone got stuck with like, what makes you you? And just had to sit with like, the existential dread of not knowing how to articulate beyond like, oh, I play music and
That's so good.
Yeah. So I guess what question would you like to ask the next guest?
I feel like I want it to be a musical question. Okay. Like maybe it's two-pronged. It's like, have you found like a musical identity as a drummer, like in the way that you play? And oh crap, I've forgotten what the other part of it was. How did you get there? Like, how did you find your vibe or your style, or do you have one, or is that something that you've wanted? Something like that.
Cool. That's great.
Super articulate, right?
I'll I don't know if the next guest is going to be a drummer, but we can apply it to any kind of musician.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, apply it to...
Are you happy with that? I didn't want to...
Yeah, I think it goes, if it's a musician, yeah, how did you, do you have a vibe or a style? I hate using the word vibe.
Would you like to put on your like radio voice and just try and like...
Pin it down?
Yeah. Or I can leave it as that. Whatever you like.
Vague is good.
Great. Let's do that. Let's just leave it.
Sorry to the person.
That's great. Well, we wrap up with 5 quick answer questions.
Yeah, sure.
So, Holly, what would be your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
Does it have to be one answer?
No.
Oh, cool. Okay. I really like playing at Northcote Social Club.
Mm-hmm.
I think it always sounds good and feels good. And I love just the Gem.
The Gem?
The Gem.
I don't know the
You
Gem.
don't know the Gem? Oh my God. They have free
sorry.
gigs pretty much every night of the week.
Yeah.
And
Whereabouts is the Gem?
It's just in Collingwood.
Oh,
And it's just a little bar.
cool.
And it's a bit country.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a residency with Freya Josephine Hollick and Emily Lubitz on Thursdays and Sundays in May. So come.
Oh, sick. Yeah, I will.
Sorry, didn't mean to plug, but
No,
it
it's
was
fine.
opportune. But I also should say Shot Kickers because my friends work there. Yeah, and it's that's cultivating a scene, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, what would be your dream venue to play at?
Oh, I don't know. I don't dream up much. I don't have a dream. I don't know.
Just living in the
Like,
moment too much.
I'm living in the moment. I don't know. Royal Albert Hall. I don't know.
Great room.
I have no idea, to be honest.
All right, well, what is your coffee order?
It's if I have a keep cup. My partner's got me into this one. An oat, an oat flat white. But if I'm sitting in, then I'll get an oat cappuccino.
What's the difference?
Well, then,
Foam amount.
Yeah, then you don't get all the fluffy foam in your keep cup lid.
Okay.
Because inevitably it doesn't get into your mouth; it just goes on the lid.
Yeah. Clever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your partner's thought that one through.
yeah, smart.
What is your favourite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
I actually don't usually get food after a gig. I like to make I don't know if I can say this, a slutty pasta when I get home, but like olives and semi-dried tomatoes and garlic and capers and things.
Nice.
Olive oil.
And you'll cook that up after, like, you get home?
Yeah, like if I need to eat food.
Yep.
Yeah, just a little quick.
Nice. All right, final question. What's one piece of advice that you'd give your younger self?
Oh, God. This is not a quick question.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I don't know what advice I'd give. Maybe don't stay in Adelaide so long and be braver earlier and move. And yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm very happy with where I am right now, so it's hard to say.
Yeah. Oh, you're killing it. You're doing great things. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Holly.
Thank you for having me.
It's been so nice to chat with you and, get to know a bit more about, like, your thoughts and stories and stuff. If anyone wants to, hire you as a freelance drummer or check out some of the music and see shows, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you or find out more?
I feel like that's like a minefield when you're just reflecting on the various modes of people finding you, like Instagram, Facebook Messenger, whatever.
An old MySpace page.
MySpace. You're like, which gigs do I have when? And they're all in different threads on different things. Cool. Yeah, email.
Yes.
Probably the old-fashioned email. Do I say it?
Yeah, if you want.
Oh, sure.
Or I can just put it on the podcast
Yeah, just
notes.
put it on the podcast notes.
Great.
Yeah,
I'll do
because I
that.
might even accidentally give it to you wrong. I've done that before.
Awesome. I'll add it to the liner notes.
Awesome.
And it'll be a little while till this podcast comes out.
Sure.
But whenever it is, let me know what you got happening at the time, and I'll add that in the podcast notes too, so people can check out the new album from Quivers and stuff that'll be out in
Awesome.
August.
Great.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us on Our Drummers Musicians. I hope you enjoyed getting to know another Melbourne muso like I did. Help us grow by leaving a review, share the podcast with friends and family, and subscribe on our website for extra info. Got a guest you'd love to hear on the show? Please let us know. at ourdrummersmusicians.com. See you next time.